Join me as I finger paint a beautiful summer landscape. Let's see if I can do it with ease. Finger painting is such a fun and liberating way to create art. I love how it allows you to get lost in the process and just enjoy the moment. And today, I want to share that joy with you by creating a stunning summer landscape using just my fingers and some vibrant paint. I know that when it comes to creating art, many of us can feel intimidated or overwhelmed. We might think we're not good enough, or that we don't have the skills or experience to produce something beautiful. But the truth is, art is all about experimentation and having fun. And with finger painting, there's really no way to go wrong. You can't make a mistake, because every smudge or smear just adds to the character of the piece. One of the biggest challenges people face when trying to create art is getting past the fear of making mistakes. We're so afraid of not being perfect, of not meeting our own high expectations, that we often don't even try. But the thing is, perfection is boring. It's the imperfections, the quirks and the surprises, that make art truly interesting. Another challenge is feeling like you need to have extensive experience or training to create something beautiful. But that's just not true. Art is about expressing yourself, and finger painting is a great way to do that without feeling like you need to be a skilled artist. Okay, let's get started. To create our summer landscape, we're going to start with a bright blue sky. I'm using a big glob of blue paint and just smearing it all over the canvas to cover the entire background. You can use your fingers or a sponge, whatever you prefer. Next, we're going to add some fluffy white clouds. I'm using a light touch and just dabbing the paint onto the canvas to create soft, puffy clouds. You can make them as big or as small as you like, and you can even add a few streaks of blue or gray to give them some depth. And then I'm adding a few more streaks of blue to create a sense of movement and depth in the sky. Wow, look at how far we've come. From a blank canvas to a vibrant summer landscape, all in just a few minutes. I love how the colors and textures all come together to create this beautiful piece of art. All we did was start with a blue sky, add some fluffy clouds, create some trees, and then add some finishing touch. It's really that simple. Thanks so much for joining me on this finger painting adventure. If you've tried finger painting before, I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. And if you're new to finger painting, I hope this video has inspired you to give it a try. Don't forget to check out my other art tutorial videos for more inspiration and fun. There's something so charming about painting on a small scale, isn't there? Maybe it's the sense of intimacy, or the challenge of capturing a big scene on a tiny surface. Whatever it is, I just love the idea of creating a miniature masterpiece that can fit in the palm of your hand. And what better subject to paint than a stunning summer landscape? One of the biggest challenges I think artists face when trying to capture the essence of summer landscapes is choosing the right colors. You want to evoke that warm, sunny feeling, but it's easy to end up with a painting that looks more like a mess of bright hues than a serene summer scene. Another challenge is composition. How do you balance the different elements of your painting to create a sense of harmony? I think one of the biggest mistakes artists make when painting summer landscapes is failing to create depth. You want your painting to feel like you could step right into it, not like it's just a flat, two-dimensional image. And that can be tough, especially when you're working on a small scale like this. Finally, I think a lot of artists struggle with capturing the feeling of movement and energy in their summer landscapes. You want to convey the sense of a breeze rustling through the trees, or the sound of waves crashing against the shore. In the next few minutes, I'll be walking you through my process for creating a stunning summer landscape on this mini canvas. I'll show you my techniques for blending colors, creating depth, and adding details to bring your painting to life. So grab your own mini canvas and paints, and let's get started. I want to get the basic elements of my painting in place before I start adding color. Next, I'll start blocking in my colors, working from background to foreground. I'm using a combination of yellow ochre and titanium white to create a warm, sunny sky. Then, I'll start adding in my trees and foliage, using a mix of greens and browns to create depth and dimension. As I work, I'm trying to think about how I can create movement and energy in my painting. I'm using loose brushstrokes and soft edges to give my trees a sense of movement, and I'm adding in a few subtle highlights to catch the viewer's eye. I'm also trying to think about how I can create a sense of atmosphere in my painting, using misty blues and purples to evoke the feeling of a warm summer evening. As I add more and more detail to my painting, I can start to see it come together. The trees are starting to look like they're swaying in the breeze, and the water is starting to sparkle in the sunlight. It's amazing how much life and energy you can bring to a painting just by adding in a few subtle details. Try to avoid all the common finger painting mistakes while creating a mini canvas in record time. Finger painting on mini canvases has become increasingly popular among artists and hobbyists, and it's easy to see why. It's a fun, expressive, and accessible way to create art, even with limited space or equipment. And who doesn't love the idea of creating a beautiful piece of art that fits in the palm of your hand? When it comes to finger painting, however, many of us have experienced the frustration of making mistakes that can ruin an otherwise great piece of art. And when you're working on a small scale, those mistakes can be even more noticeable. From smudges and smears, to uneven colors and poor composition, the challenges of finger painting on many canvases are unique and require some special considerations. One of the biggest mistakes people make when finger painting on many canvases is not planning ahead. Without a clear idea of what you want to create, it's easy to get carried away with colors and textures, resulting in a muddy, uncoordinated mess. Another common mistake is not preparing your canvas properly. Using the wrong kind of paint or not priming your canvas can lead to poor adhesion, flaking, and other issues that can be impossible to fix. And then there's the issue of color mixing. When you're working with small amounts of paint, it's easy to end up with colors that are too bright, too pale, or just plain unattractive. And if you're not careful, you can end up with a color palette that clashes rather than harmonizes. Trying to fix these kinds of mistakes can be a nightmare, especially on a small canvas where every brushstroke counts. In addition to these common mistakes, many artists struggle with handling the mini canvas itself. Whether it's accidentally smudging the paint, or dropping the canvas and getting fingerprints all over it, there are any number of ways to ruin a piece of art before it's even finished. One of the most common mistakes I see people making is not using the right consistency of paint. If the paint is too thick, it can be hard to blend and merge colors, resulting in a stiff, unnatural look. On the other hand, if the paint is too thin, it can be difficult to control, leading to drips, runs, and other accidents. When it comes to mixing colors, it's essential to have a clear idea of what you want to achieve. Are you going for bright, bold colors, or soft, muted tones? And there you have it, my stunning summer landscape is finally complete. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I hope you are too. The key to creating a painting like this is all about layering and building up your colors and textures gradually. Don't be afraid to experiment and try new things, and most importantly, have fun with it. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you have a favorite summer scene or a painting topic you'd love to see me tackle next, be sure to leave a comment below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more art tutorials and inspiration. I'll see you in the next video.